Let's just talk a bit about our friend, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who visited our house in Denmark, coinciding with Denmark taking over the EU Council presidency. He held talks with the Danish PM Mette Frederiksen and EU Commission President, our favorite, Queen Ursula von der Leyen, on deeper defense industrial cooperation and a potential joint production of military equipment like interceptor drones. Everybody seems to have misinterpreted Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous quote. He said, "I have a dream, not I have a drone." And this also coincided with the discussion of tougher sanctions against, drumroll, Russia, because that's worked so well. Anyway, Denmark reaffirmed its commitment to supporting Ukraine's EU accession and bolstering Ukraine's air defense capabilities, even as the US paused certain arms shipments. So as Denmark takes EU helm, geopolitical tensions rise. And as we mentioned, Denmark assumed the 6-month rotating presidency of the EU Council this July 3rd, and in the midst of heightened geopolitical challenges. The key priorities have been strengthening EU defense. We've talked about that at length. Everybody has been hearing about that. Aiming for military investment alignment with NATO by 2030 and joint procurement via the European Defense Industry Program, aka the European Military Industrial Complex. Now we know its acronym is EDIP. Literally, EDIP. There you go, folks.
They can't find like a better.
Yeah.
It's because they dip their hand in your pocket.
Yeah.
Fill your wallet.
In your wallet, exactly. Also, another key priority is boosting the EU's economic competitiveness. We've mentioned that before, especially in response to US tariff threats, and we'll get into that in a second, and global supply pressures, and supporting Ukraine and Moldova's EU accession, climate action, ironic, right? Given
there we go again.
Regulatory reform, ironic as well, given what we just mentioned earlier today. And
I'd like to know, like, where all this money, like, for climate reform, climate change is going to exactly.
It goes into the bureaucrats' pockets. And the regulatory reform is also a kind of a joke, because we just mentioned earlier at the top of the show about what was going on with the farmers and in Greece and such. And also another key priority is to target migration control efforts. So apparently now a lot of EU countries are now targeting migration efforts, because now they're all seeing an issue with immigration, or at least illegal immigration of sorts, and trying to rein that back in. So let's see.
I mean, in some cases, it could be a concern. In other cases, it could be to sway people's attention from other stuff.
Probably, yeah.